So, are you surprised? You shouldn't be. Certainly not shocked, right? A lot of people are telling me they're totally shocked. Look, Newsmax had this a long time ago. In fact, Mark Halperin was predicting it to the hour almost on Thursday. A lot of people also saw the debate and said, this is inevitable. Some of us actually saw Joe Biden years ago, early in his presidency, and just realized this can't happen. No way. Now, has it happened? All we have is this. A flimsy letter on Joe Biden's personal stationery announcing to the world that he's withdrawing. He will not be the nominee. Brags about America, I think, falsely. It has been my greatest honor to serve with you. Where's the part where he actually gets out of this? My concern is, why isn't Joe actually going before a camera? We know that Democrats wanted him out desperately, right? We also know that Joe was yelling and screaming 10 days ago that he was in this race to stay. Remember, in Wisconsin? All right, so quick review. The debate, after the debate, what could they do? It was a disaster. You saw it, I saw it. It was played on all the cable channels, including this one. There's the Kamala Harris factor now. Kamala has been endorsed by Joe Biden, not by Barack Obama. Will she be the nominee? I see, quite frankly, Barack Obama's hand in all of this. I really do. Can I just go back to the moment where I realized Joe Biden was finished as a candidate? It's actually way before any of this stuff. You remember the Mar-a-Lago raid? The Mar-a-Lago raid, August 8th, 2022, and the aftermath of that? And Joe Biden was so indignant about what happened, right? Take a look. "60 Minutes, anybody? Hello. It's worth the wait.
You saw the photograph of the top secret documents laid out on the floor at Mar-a-Lago. What did you think to yourself, looking at that image?
How that could possibly happen, how anyone could be that irresponsible. And I thought, what data was in there that may compromise sources and methods? By that, I mean names of people who helped, or et cetera. And it's just totally irresponsible.
And then, a matter of weeks later, he was busted with all kinds of classified documents in his garage, all over his house, his office, warehouses. And the arrogant way he responded. Remember that? I mean, this is the ultimate in hypocrisy. We curated the moment about a Corvette. Does anybody have that? We're working with the weekend crew, folks. It happens. Hey, Mark Halperin is standing by. I'd like to bring in Mark Halperin. He broke the story on Thursday, and we appreciate it very much, Mark. You were right from the very, very beginning. But now that it's broken, what do you think, and what's going to happen next?
Well, I think of it in kind of three phases. One is to continue to unpack what happened exactly with Joe Biden's decision-making. Two is Kamala Harris's kind of activities between now and the convention and how she moves towards the nomination, picking a running mate, hiring a staff, raising money, all the things she needs to do, introducing herself to the voters who don't know her, as well as cable TV news hosts. And then lastly, the general election and handicapping it. And, I have smart sources who say she can't win. And I just heard from one Republican who said, I thought her chances were 0, but upon thinking about it and looking what's happened today, I think her chances are 40%.
All right. Mark, a lot of us were saying a long time ago, we just felt it. We saw Barack Obama. Nothing seemed right about Joe Biden. And I am suspicious. I don't think Kamala Harris could withstand a traditional, 9-month campaign for president. I don't think she could hack that. They circumvent that. Obviously, she wouldn't run against an incumbent Joe Biden, and now she's exposed for a shorter amount of time. If you can speak to that, and also forget the campaigning, forget the political skills, which she does have some. I hear she's a terrible manager and basically can't keep anybody employed for more than a couple of months.
Well, I'd say if you're looking to appraise her strengths and weaknesses, I would put word salad down the list. What I put high on the list is record of poor management, and record of not doing well under political pressure. And she's about to have to deal with both those things in a pretty intense, unprecedented way. I don't think there's a conspiracy theory here to give her a short campaign. I think what occurred was that the Democratic Party, after the debate, recognized that they were making a horrible political mistake in thinking that a candidate where 70% of the country doesn't think they have the acuity to be president could possibly win. She's got a chance to win, and I think it is greater than a lot of Republicans realize, particularly if she launches strong, redefines herself, separates herself from the administration to the extent she can, and picks a good running mate. I think she can win, and Joe Biden's chances of winning were negligible. Democrats have traded a doomed candidacy for a risky one, but risky is better than doomed.
What do you make of this letter? I mean, this is a really important decision, and he puts it on a piece of paper. I understand that aides were surprised by this. Something this important, it would seem like, I mean, presidential custom that it has to come from the president himself. I guess I do think back to Richard Nixon. He did resign on paper the night before he actually made the address. I don't think there's an address coming tomorrow. He says later in the week. I don't know. Given how resistant he's been and how much pressure there's been on, I think there should be more than this.
Yeah, he's got COVID, so maybe his voice isn't up to it. And of course, he's a proud guy. Some call him vain. But if he's not in good shape, he knows that the next statement he makes, the first statement he makes about this on camera, is going to be a historical piece of footage. And it may be that he's just not inclined to try to lay down that piece of video when he's feeling under the weather.
How about, we're talking about Kamala Harris like she's a fait accompli. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I'm hearing Manchin making some noise. Hillary is out there. I think Obama said something about an open convention or an open process. Even Kamala Harris said she wants to earn this nomination. So how much competition will there be? What kind of process will this be?
Well, it'll be a contested convention, I think, that's not contested. I think if Joe Manchin takes a look at the voters who are Democratic delegates, Biden-Harris delegates, a lot of like teachers and union members and others who on the far left, I don't know that Joe Manchin would win the votes from the West Virginia delegation because they're far to the left of him. So I don't know if Joe Manchin will run. I don't know if anybody else will run, but I don't believe she'll have anything but token opposition. And in fact, the lack of endorsement from Barack Obama, the vice president's statement itself, they're trying to make it clear that she doesn't expect a coronation. They don't like the look of that. She's talking about earning it. So she might welcome Joe Manchin running. But again, I doubt anybody will run, and I don't see how anybody could beat her, given who the electorate is.
I think, let me ask you this. I mean, I was hearing from the Trump campaign for a while, and after the debate, Trump was saying it out loud on that golf cart. Joe's going to quit. It's going to be Kamala. She's bad. A lot of people in the business do think she is bad. What does this do immediately to the Trump campaign? My sense is they were not expecting Joe Biden to last. Actually, Donald Trump said out loud in a rally, asked a room full of people over a year ago, do you think Biden's going to last? I don't know. So anyway, how much does this upend their strategy? What kind of situation are they in tonight?
First of all, Greg, just a friendly correction. It's pronounced Kamala, like Kamala.
How did I say it?
Kamala,
How did I say
Kamala.
it? No.
Kamala.
I mean, actually, I want to get this straight. It's not Kamala, it's Kamala?
It's Kamala, like Kamala.
All right, Kamala.
Like the
no disrespect.
Like the, punctuation.
No disrespect. No.
Okay.
Okay, very good. Kamala.
All right.
If you don't mind, the previous question.
Remind me what it was.
Trump campaign reaction. What does this do to them?
Got it. Okay, thank you. So, look, they've had days to think about it because they've known that this was possible. And as you pointed out, President Trump said it a few days ago, or more than a few days ago. They were very confident about running against Joe Biden. I would say they're somewhat less confident in running against her, but not unconfident. And they've already got a plan. There's negative ads that are made. I don't know how quickly we'll see them. I suspect quickly. I think their level of concern will depend on three things in the short term. One is what happens with the polls. And, Alex Castellano, the Republican strategist, said on one of my two-way sessions that he thought she'd go ahead in the polls and not win, but go ahead. And that would obviously be a huge boost in the arm for them. Two is fundraising, both big dollar, fat cat fundraising, but also the grassroots. And I've told from people in the campaign, I don't know that it's true because I have to rely on them, but I'm told the fundraising's exploded today. And if that happens, not only does it give them, a better hold on being able to produce ads, et cetera, and put them on the air, but it's a sign of grassroots support and excitement. So that would be significant. And then lastly, her running mate talked to several Trump people again before this announcement today, who said if it's Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, that would be formidable. That would be a potential game changer in a way that would allow her to have the alchemy that sometimes occur with a good running mate selection. So I'd watch those three things. They're not taking it for granted, but they're not worried about her. They don't look at her as someone who is obviously prepared to beat the president, former president.
And what do you think finally convinced Joe Biden to sign this letter, to leave the race? He was very resistant, angry, as we all know, in large part thanks to your reporting. What finally did it?
I think a combination of three things. One was the fundraising, and the prospect that when the next round of numbers came out, that death spiral would get even worse when people saw the shockingly low totals of what he could spend, raise rather. Two is the polls. Their internal polls, as I've reported, were much worse than the public polls and much worse than they were admitting. And remember, before the debate, he had a one electoral college path to exactly 270 votes, 270 electoral votes, no margin of error. They were now looking at no paths to a victory and an expanding map for Trump in places like Minnesota and New Hampshire and Virginia. And then lastly, Nancy Pelosi, who Joe Biden well knows is a formidable political force. And it was clear that she was going to, in an orchestrated way, unfurl more Democrats going public against him, unfurl more negative stories about him in a way that just, he recognized was not sustainable. And I think allowed him to see that his going forward could destroy not just the party's view of Donald Trump getting back to the White House, but down ballot races of the party he loves.
And could you finally share some thoughts about the media's role in all of this? It seems to me they protected Biden during the campaign and all throughout his presidency. There were enormous gaffes, flops, physical mishaps that were either entirely minimized or even ignored. I am still shocked that they did that, but they did it consistently. And I think they were deceptive on purpose, perhaps. I mean, yes, it had to be on purpose. I'm not sure their motivation. Could you speak to that a bit?
I've called it the largest media scandal in modern American history, bigger than WMD, bigger than Russia, because there was no secret. People would say, well, in private meetings, he's very good. And I'd say, forget the private meetings. I can see the public events. And I saw Joe Biden's decline. I've said this to you before, Greg. I saw it in 2017 at a public event. So there was no secret. And the press chose to be part of the resistance and not talk about it very much in order to make sure that Donald Trump didn't get back to the White House. And again, paradoxically and ironically, it could be the very thing that allows Trump to win, because the Democrats went until July of this year with somebody who the American public saw quite clearly wasn't up to do the job for 4 more years.